Good evening, everybody. I tell you what, it's really hot today, and everything is happening. I put my glasses on just now, and my arm fell off my glasses. Everything is happening, but never mind, it's all part of fun. How are you, Susan?
I'm great, thank you. It's very hot here too, so I know what you mean. We shouldn't complain though, should we? We shouldn't complain because we're very fortunate to have such fabulous weather.
Yeah, the Southwest, we've got an amber warning in the Southwest.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty hot in Manchester too, so yeah.
Yeah, it's really hot. Now, I watch your... Sorry, I look at your pictures every morning. And I love them. And it's all about nature and everything. Yeah. And this is the title tonight, really, about nature, isn't it?
For sure, because it is amazing. I actually live, my garden more or less backs onto the Bridgewater Canal. And until COVID, until lockdown, I never really went down there. And then after lockdown and my gym had closed and, everything's finished with, really, I started doing a walk and taking one or two pictures and posting them. And the whole thing has gained momentum. So you're absolutely right. I take a picture every single day about the Bridgewater Canal, whether this morning it was a family of geese or it's a moorhen or whatever. And it's just a treat. It's just a delight. And I can't imagine now ever stopping doing that, ever giving up on that, because it's been such a wonderful thing. And it's amazing how many people like yourself have said, oh, I look out for your pictures, or they start my day off beautifully, because I go out early in the morning and it's a real treat for me, and it seems other people quite enjoy it too.
Yeah, we got the central track here, and it used to be an old railway. And I love it. I love when the birds in the trees and all the wires around us, all the cows in the field. And we appreciate nature, shouldn't we?
For sure, and it's just free. I mean, and what one of the things that inspires me that is whether we turn up or we don't, nature carries on. So you get other seasons, you get the ducklings. I mean, I saw the heron this morning, and I say the moorhen, and a massive family of geese, and all these things happen whether we're there or not, and it really does add so much value to our lives, and also puts a different perspective on things, and also, if we want it, gives us a bit of private time, a bit of me time, a bit of calming down or reflective time, or time away from the house, or we can actually take our family with us and have some bonding time, some light conversation away from the house, and that can be valuable in itself as well. So there are many things that are a gift if you take a little bit of time out for yourself and spend it in nature too.
Yeah, what does it mean to spend time in nature?
Well, I think you're basically, hopefully, walking away from the routine. It's a different routine. I get up and I go out pretty well straight away. So I've got a reason to get out of bed. I've got a routine. I've got something that starts the day off. We can all find our own variation of whatever that means for us. But I think nature itself, I mean, you get runners who have their headphones in, and I think, oh my goodness me, all the birds, I've got an app on my phone that tells me what all the different bird sounds are, and I've spotted 46 different bird songs going along that towpath. Now, for me, I wouldn't dream of having headphones in, but for some people, it's their own little world. They're going for a run, they're getting some exercise. But time in nature, it's the smells, it's the sight, it's the different colours of green and all the different shades of wildflowers. It's just a spiritual connection for a lot of people, where you're really getting down to the basics. And I mean, there's been times when I've gone out and it's said it's not going to rain for about 4 hours, and I've got deluged. But it really does bring something special into your life, and you enjoy all the different flavours and nuances of nature.
Yeah. Why do you like spending time in nature?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Why? Because it's. I mean, it gives me a break. It's away from the house. It's part of the routine that I do, so it adds value to my day. It starts me off, and also the other dimension is that I see quite. I've been doing it now for 16 months or something. So there's a few familiar faces along the way. May share a bit of a crack, a few words, maybe a little bit of a friendship, maybe recognise a few of the barges that are moored up and have a bit of a chat with them. So you're dipping in with light conversations, you're dipping in with, in some cases, maybe potential friendships, but certainly friendships as far as the walk's concerned. And it's really very special. It brings a different pace to your life. You're just taking that walk, you're having that regular time for yourself. It brings an awful lot of value, and it's a really precious time that I would never want to lose now.
Yeah. Can spend time in nature be happiness?
I think it can lead to a peace and a calm, and it maybe gives people time to think about if they've got any problems or get a different perspective on things or detach. So I think doing all of those things can ultimately lead to peace, which in turn brings a happiness. For me, happiness is a byproduct of feeling good about yourself, of having exercised, of having walked or run or taken the dogs out or had a bit of maybe a bike ride or whatever it is you do, that these things just give you, you're connecting with your body, you're connecting with nature, you're connecting with the elements potentially. I mean, I walk in all weathers. So if you're doing those sorts of things, yes, I think that in itself, the breathing, the flow, the moving your limbs, all those things bring a sense of happiness in themselves, that are a sort of byproduct of feeling good about yourself and having that time away from the ordinariness perhaps of your life at home. And it's as I say, it's a change of air, change of scenery. Maybe if you're going out on your own, it's a break away from the family. Maybe if you're going with your partner or the kids, it's a way to have nice, light conversations and reconnect as people and make friends with the people that you share your house with. And that in itself can be very special too.
Yeah. What are the benefits of spending time in nature?
Well, I think the health benefits are things like your fitness, your oxygen levels, the vitamin D that you get from the sun. I think, breathing deeply is a positive way to aid sleep. You are, as I say, you're potentially making friendships or relationships or sharing a few words with perhaps other people who are in the same space as you. Well, that can lift your mood and help you feel better and help you feel good about yourself. Smiling for me, it's monitoring the cygnets that I saw not that long ago, who were tiny little baby swans being carried on their parents' backs, and today they were out in full force and bigger than teenagers now. They're pretty grown up, and the geese were the same, and the moorhen. And so smiling as you see all those different evolutions that are happening in nature and the changes of scenery, and the leaves change colour and everything. So there's an awful lot of, you're improving your eyesight if you're looking distances, the whole thing, the perspective that you get on things. It brings a different perspective into life, physically, and I think mentally and spiritually too. So there are an awful lot of spin-off benefits from doing those things.
So spending time in nature, can it benefit as well?
Absolutely. I think anything that gives you a reason to do something, and that in itself is a motivation. I know for me, if I got up and I started messing about and I'll just go on the computer and I'll just do this and I'll put the washing in and all those things, I possibly wouldn't do my walk because I'd get distracted. So I've got my routine now where I get up and I go and have a wash my face and get dressed and I'm out the house, and I don't let anything else get in the way. And I think that the whole thing about the routine of it, that's an important thing to me. It gets me out the house. I do it without thinking almost. I think the whole thing about going for a walk, looking out, being concerned, where's that mother duck, how many babies has she still got? all that thing, being interested in something other than yourself, looking out for perhaps the friends and sharing a few words and following up with them. How are you? What happened about this or that or whatever? Having conversations, building mini relationships that not too heavily invested in your life, but those again are special, and they're a way of feeling important, recognised, positive about yourself. All these things on many, many levels improve our mental health. They help us feel better about ourselves. They help us feel recognised and alive and moving and active and breathing deeply and all that, and having time for ourselves where we're perhaps not in a rush and at other people's behest. So all those things are really good for our mental health, because it's your little oasis of 30 minutes, 60 minutes, whatever it might be, of time for yourself where you're exercising but also doing something special too.
Yeah. I really appreciate the countryside for and all the nature around us. We need to look after our you know what I mean? Because where we live, Devon, it's really lovely. But the trouble is sometimes it's not looked after properly.
Yeah. And we can do our little bit, can't we? I mean, occasionally I see people, and I might do it myself, do a little bit of a mini litter pick, or, I know where I am, most of the dog owners are very good about clearing up after their dogs. So, and the people who own the towpaths and things will come along and occasionally trim back the trees. So, yes, but to some extent, I also like it as it is. And so long as it's not left, there's no pay. I mean, people are pretty good about not leaving cans and bags and things there. But, if those sorts of things occasionally happen, it's very few and far between. And we're pretty good at investing in it. So it is, you're absolutely right. We do need to take care of it and look out for ways that we can perhaps support the birds. In winter last year, I took wild bird seed along and fed them and doing little things like that, where we're doing what we can. And, if you find something that's perhaps a bit trapped, you maybe help it along its way. So it's being aware, it's being invested, it's keeping an eye open. But nature's pretty good at taking care of itself in the main. And along where I am, they are very good at keeping all their birds. I've seen the mother ducks with the same number of birds 2-3 months later, which is pretty good going. And the fox with a couple of cubs in the field opposite, and the barn owl. So there's an awful lot of really lovely things that we look out for, and they do. As we see them, we smile and think, wow, look how amazing that is. There was a young heron on the towpath this morning. And it's a treat. You're thinking there's evolution happening all the time. Whether I'm here or not, it's happening all the time. And I think that puts your own problems, put your own challenges into perspective. Because when you see a mother duck with half a dozen ducklings under her wings in lousy rain, you think, okay, she's battling to look after them as well. And we're all coping in our own ways, and it's good to just take a bit of emphasis away from yourself and enjoy what you're seeing and what you're being able to share in.
I used to tell my friends of mine, they used to moan about money, food, and that. And they used to say to them, how about the
yeah.
And we're so lucky.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think a big thing as well is having that commitment to yourself on a regular basis, because I think that's another way of supporting our mental health. That if we're able, even in a busy life, to know that, at that time of day, I am going to have 30, 40, 50 minutes for myself, and I'm going to make that a priority, whether it's after work or before work or at some particular time in the day. Taking care to try to make that as a regular commitment to you, unless there's an absolute crisis or an emergency. That is a very important thing to do as well, because we have to asterisk ourselves as being important in our lives. If every time somebody says, can you do this or can you do that, you put them first, you can lose sense of your own relevance in your own life. And I think sometimes having that regular commitment where you are taking that little time to go for that walk, or that time for that phone call with a friend, or that time for making yourself food and sitting down with it. All these are important things to do where we're letting ourselves know that we're on our own list of priorities, because if you don't care about you can't expect anybody else to. And I think that is something that having a regular break, a regular walk, or a regular bike ride, I think that is something else that does for us as well. It gives us a vested interest in ourselves and our own well-being.
Yeah. And sorry. And nature harm you?
Well, I suppose if you go out unprotected in bad weather, or if you go out and you haven't got the right footwear on and it's stony or it's icy. I mean, there's a few times when I've gone along my towpath and there's parts of the next to the canal, the towpath, that are quite narrow, and sometimes there's trees there, or there are people on bikes coming along, whizzing along really fast, or it's a bit slippy underfoot. So you have to be sensible, and I think you can't just be blasé, but I think it's taking good care, making sure you've got the right clothes on, the right footwear on, that, you know, potentially you've got your mobile phone if you're going a little bit off the beaten track. So if you had an accident of some kind or something happened, you're in a position where hopefully you would be able to get in touch with somebody if you've got a signal. So or letting people know where you're going if you're going for a big hike in the countryside. So it's being sensible and taking sensible precautions, but in the main, I mean, unless you get, I mean, I get eaten by mosquitoes, so you know, I'm covered in bites. But, you know, you have to be careful that you are able to look after yourself and get rid of any stings if you got stung, or, you know, you've got decent footwear on and you're covered properly.
Yeah. Can nature make you feel younger?
Well, I think if you look after yourself and you have good enthusiasm levels for what you're doing and you're exercising regularly, all these are things that invest in our health and well-being. So I think, you know, getting out there and, you know, you're exercising, you're stimulating your blood supply, you're feeding your skin, you're moving your body, you're getting away from the house, so you're breathing good air in. That can definitely help you feel younger and look younger. And if you're happier in yourself and you're invested in life and you're enjoying life and you're feeling good and energetic and vibrant, again, that helps lift your mood, which in turn improves your looks, improves your skin, improves your, you know, your energy levels. I think if you're out a lot in bad weather or sunny weather, you need to protect your skin, because if you don't, you're going to look a lot older. But in the sense of taking care of yourself and getting good exercise and good protection and drinking plenty of water and all these things, they are great ways of helping you look younger and maintain a healthy body, which pain-free, you're moving your joints, you're getting a few feet, you know, steps under your belt. You know, all these things are a great way of investing in your health and well-being, and keep you younger and keep you more active and keep your joints in good nick.
Yeah, because all our daily lives are really busy, and we don't stop really appreciate what we've got around us.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I didn't do that till lockdown. I mean, as I say, I you know, my garden more or less backs on the canal, and I'd only when I had dogs years ago, and I used to take them down there in the morning before I went to work, but never really walked an awfully long way, and it was really only after lockdown, and I just thought, you know, I live on my own, I can vegetate in the house and feel sorry for myself and eat chocolate biscuits, or I can do something and actually, hang on a minute, I'm just over the bridge, the canal's there. And that's what kick-started me off into doing it. And I really am so grateful. But I think we do need sometimes something to be the reason why we get up and do something special like that. And it's one of my takeaways from lockdown that I'm hanging on to with enthusiasm.
Do you think it was challenging to carve out for your daily routine?
Do I think what?
Was it challenging for you to carve out a routine?
Well, when lockdown first started, the first 10 days or so, I just went into a bit of a mental low, So first 10 days or so, I didn't really do anything very much at all, apart from just think, oh God, and I was a bit numb with it all. And then I just thought, come on, Susan, sort yourself out. You've got to, this could go on forever, and it's down to you, honey, what you do. So I actually decided at that point that I got up and I got some boots and I wore my kit and I set off, and I've never stopped, and it's just been wonderful. And I think adding in for me taking the photographs, which are only done on my phone, and they were only done for me, and they weren't meant to be masterpieces or anything, but I just started doing that for me, and I just put a picture on and maybe a bit of a wise saying or something that I'd invented, and it just gained momentum, and the whole thing has grown and become a sort of almost a mini project for me, which I love. But yeah, I think taking time for ourselves and having that routine is a great way of, because you give yourself a kind of purpose almost, and it's a great way of getting through something that might be challenging or difficult. And if any of us, if we're going through a difficult situation, finding a way to take a break from that and maybe go for a walk in nature, or go for a walk in the hills, or take the dog out around the park, or whatever, those things can help us come back and feel a lot better as a consequence of having had time to detach, time to think, time to not think, time to just let go of it all, and then we can reconnect with our world and just think, oh, I feel better for that now.
Yeah. Susan, thank you very much. That was
really interesting. My pleasure.
I really enjoyed that.
Good.
Sometimes in life we need to take just a couple of minutes out what we are all about in life. We need to stop and listen to the birds, listen to all nature around us, and just stop. Then you never know. There you go. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you.
My pleasure. See you next Monday.
Thank you. Bye-bye.